Yeah, call outside, you know. How much touch that? Pressure me not shot. Alright, you mean? I can't shot outside, you know. Yes. Yes, man, call it, man. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, play. 1, 2. 1, 2. What? Shot, coming out of the okay, put sync gonna.
My followers, how are you all? Good afternoon, good evening, possibly good morning. All depends on where you are in the world. Welcome back to another live stream. First and foremost, let me go ahead and apologize to you guys. I hope you can hear me clearly. If you can't, then if my mouth is only moving, then let me know in the comment section. If you're also hearing some background noise, then do let me know and I'll go ahead and make the necessary adjustments. Seems like something's wrong with my microphone. Okay, there we go. So yeah, do let me know if you can hear me nice and clear in the comment section. If you haven't hit the like button, what are you waiting on? As I was saying, first and foremost, let me apologize. I should have given you guys this live stream about 2 days ago, but to be honest with you, I've been feeling exhausted and also under the weather as well, so feeling slightly better. So I figured let me go ahead and give you guys the post-match reaction following our victory over arch Caribbean rivals Trinidad and Tobago in match day 2 of what I'm framing it as 6 cup finals. Hopefully by the time we get to November, it should be all smiles beaming from ear to ear, knowing that we've qualified for next summer's FIFA Men's World Cups. Obviously, it's still a long way to go, plenty of work to get done, but hopefully that's how I would like to see things play out towards the closing of the year. So we're going to go ahead and listen to the 2 post-match press conferences there from the head coach of Trinidad and Tobago, that's Dwight Yorke, and also our gaffer, Steve McLaren. I'm not sure if you guys have caught up with the press conferences yet, the post-match press conferences, so I don't really want to ruin it for you. So I think, it's probably best for us to sit here, listen to both of those press conferences, and before I close off, I'll get down to the meat of the matter, talk about the Bricklayers. For me, the Bricklayers for the future of Jamaica football on the men's side of things, I think they have finally arrived. And when we're talking about Bricklayers, I'm talking about the guys there who are going to be setting the foundation, the guys who we could look at to build a structure and to help us secure some long-term gratification, which should hopefully pay its dividends with future successes. Hopefully starting off by qualifying for next summer's FIFA Men's World Cup. All right, so let's just go ahead and listen to the post-match press conference. I reckon I'm going to start off with Dwight Yorke. So that is the gaffer of Trinidad and Tobago, and then segue into listening to Steve McLaren, okay? Mr. Lynch, Mr. Gary Lynch, big up yourself. I hope you are in good health. Happy Friday to yourselves. Oh, and before I forget my manners, if you're making your way home from work, I do hope that you arrive home safe and unharmed. And if you're making your way out on your graveyard shift, or then maybe you're going out to shake a leg, I hope that you arrive at your destination safe and unharmed. And I hope you do the same in return as well. All right, so let's go ahead and dive into these post-match press conferences.
Ladies and gentlemen of the press, thank you for being here with us. Head coach Dwight Yorke of the Trinidad and Tobago national team. We open the floor straight away to questions. Go ahead.
The main criticism coming out of the first game against Curacao was that the guys took long to activate and only activated in the second half. coming into this game, in spite of the score, how do you think the guys did with activating and performing?
Well, I don't really want to go into too much activation and all this kind of stuff at the minute. Clearly, the result, not the result we wanted, so I'm not going to evaluate my players here right now. But I know that it's a bit of a bitter blow for us. We felt that we've done enough to come away with something from the game, and unfortunately, that hasn't happened. And we are leaving Jamaica with an empty hand. So clearly not happy about certain things, but you know, it is what it is. We can't change the result at the moment, but certainly from a performance-wise, I'm very pleased with my players. We think that we've been felt like it's been hard done from our side, but that's the nature of the game. Sometimes you don't really get what you put in, and it doesn't show that way for us. So yeah, it's a tough one for us to swallow tonight.
Next question. Go ahead.
3 offside goals. Do you think that?
Can you still hear an echo? Can see someone in the comment section saying that there's an echo. I think it is Gary saying there's an echo. So I'm going to go ahead and play that one once more. Let me know if you can still hear an echo. I've turned down the volume slightly. I'm not sure if that's where the echo was coming from. But let me know if you can still hear the echo, okay? Thank you for that, Gary.
Mentally back to your team.
Yeah, listen, you get deflated at some point, right? You can't score 3 goals away from home and one of them not count at some stage. It's a defining moment in the game. We all know that goals really change the momentum of the game, and we felt we scored a genuine goal first half. We felt also that a penalty which we should have gotten, and then that wasn't given. So when you're constantly getting rejected, I can understand, and I'm not saying we really have conceded, we give them the first goal. You look at, we've been dominating the games. You look at the database, and when we looked at everything else, we control the game away from Jamaica. They've been given 2 chances, certainly from our side, and they took those 2 chances. So from that perspective, we're hugely disappointed, but clearly we are scratching our head how Jamaica taking 3 points from us.
Right.
Coach Yorke, after 2 Jamaican defensive blunders, your team were able to put the ball in the back of the net. Have you been able to see a replay of both of the goals?
I haven't looked back, I haven't had a chance to look back because that doesn't really change the results of the game. I think by the time it's all done, we will go back and reflect and look at it and see what we can sort of revise. But at the moment, as I said, it's a bit of a blow for us. We came in here with every intention, felt that we can get something from the game, and yet we left here with nothing to show, despite the performance from the players, despite dominating Jamaica in their home turf, outplaying them, more shots on target, scoring 3 goals and not getting 1. So there's a lot of things in there that are really good, but it doesn't change the scoreline for us, and that's the huge disappointment.
Yeah, I can hear what you're saying there, Gary. I'm not sure why it's playing like that. I'm not sure if there's something technical from my end. If it's unbearable, let me know, and I will try to do something else. We've got about maybe some 5+ minutes until his post-match conference comes to an end. But if it's completely unbearable, I've just given it a listen myself, and I can hear what you're saying. So if it's unbearable, let me know. Maybe I have to exit my studio and then come back in. So just let me know if it's irritating, okay?
Well, Jamaica will feel like they got away with one tonight.
Go ahead.
So one fine from no fine, I should say, from the one side. Oh, you the players
Well, one thing to show there's 12 points to play for. I don't think Jamaica will be thinking that they're in the clearers yet. They got Curacao, and I know they beat Bermuda, but Curacao is a very good team, and they will find that out when they play against them. I think Curacao will get a lot of encouragement. They're playing for their own opportunity as well. I'm not sure how the game finished up tonight. So they won 3-2, so they got everything to play. So that game will be a real nip in the top. We're going to make sure that when we come together again, that we take care of the games in front of us. That's all we can concentrate. We can't change the dynamics of the results now, but what we can control is what in front of us. And of course, we play Bermuda next. They're coming off 2 defeat. So that I will say, looking at it from our point of view, that it's a must-win game to get us back.
All right, guys, I'm gonna leave my studio. There's an echo. So there's two people saying that there's an echo. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna exit my studio and then come back in. All right, so it should take me just a couple seconds. Bear with me. I'll be back with you guys in a couple seconds. All right. And I'm also going to refresh this page as well. So maybe that will change it. Bear with me. All right, so let's go ahead and give this another spin. Hopefully it works. If not, then I guess I might just have to bear with it. These things can sometimes happen. I'm not really sure why it's happening, but I've just checked. There's nothing else playing in the background. Let me know how it sounds now. All right.
Into the thicker things, but it's certainly not over. There's a lot of points to be played. We know how quickly football changes. You've seen it tonight. We felt we should have gotten something from the game, but we didn't. But we got to keep going with the performance that we put in. Certainly the first two games, I think we don't deserve to lose any of those
It's still the same.
1 point, and that's you can't
Let
say
me know
much
if you
for
guys
that.
want
As much
to
as-
continue to listen to Dwight Yorke, or do you just want me to move on to McLaren's press conference? I can hear it. I'm not really sure why it's doing that. It wasn't doing that before. Maybe there's some technical issue with the studio itself, which is completely out of my control, because I actually cannot see what's going wrong, why the issue is the way it is. So if it's completely unbearable and you guys don't want to listen to the remaining 4+ minutes of what Dwight Yorke has to say, then let me know. We can just segue and listen to McLaren. Hopefully there is no issue, feedback issue with McLaren's post-match conference. I'm assuming that it's something to do with the streaming platform, because the last press conference for Trinidad and Tobago worked fine. There was no issues there. So I do apologize. I'm going to continue to play this one. Maybe we can pick up on a couple of the things there that Dwight Yorke said, and then we'll segue into listening to McLaren's post-match reaction, and I will also share my thoughts on our Bricklayers. So someone is saying try Steve's press conference. I think you guys don't want to hear what Dwight Yorke has to say. So you guys don't agree with a couple of things that he touched on. Basically saying that we were gifted 2 goals. The first goal, I think, yes, that did come from basically that's their own downfall, isn't it? And we latched onto that one. It was a throw-in. The opening goal there came from a throw-in, a Trinidad and Tobago throw-in, which was headed into the box by Greg Lee and neatly tucked away by Bailey. And we're going to be talking about Bailey, but I am assuming they're judging by the comments there in the comment section. Spinity Music, pick up yourself. You're saying that you want us to move on to McLaren's press conference. So obviously I'm here to serve you guys. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Okay. If you guys don't want me to do that, then this is your final chance to let me know in the comment section. Markland Bennett, Barrett, my apologies. Big up yourself. I hope you guys are all doing well. Happy Friday. So let's go ahead and try McLaren's press conference, right? If not, I just have to give you guys my thoughts on what was said, or maybe I'll try playing it a different way. But let's go ahead and try and seeing if we could listen to McLaren's press conference. If I do that, let's take Dwight Yorke off screen. I think you guys are fed up with Dwight Yorke, so let's take him off screen. And let's go ahead and bring up McLaren. All right, McLaren, let me see what you got for me. Let's see if you're any better. Let's go ahead and take that one off mute.
I think what we want to have first week. I think we started the game so well. The first 20-25 minutes. That you choose to score. First goal is always important. I would say we got luck with the first goal for Trinidad. It was disallowed. VAR, makes a decision.
So for some reason, the echo is still the same. For the love of God, I cannot figure out why that is. Why is there an echo? Yeah, it's very echoey, isn't it? Hold on. I think it's more of the streaming platform, guys. I don't really think it's definitely nothing to do with the post-match press conferences themselves, because I've listened to it literally just before we went on air and they were fine. So it's not, try muting your mic. Mute my mic, you're not going to hear it, but I could try that. All right, let's go ahead and see if I could. I'm gonna play it, but I'm also going to mute my mic. Let's see if that one works. If obviously when you see McLaren's mouth moving, if you can't hear it, then let me know in a matter of, let's say, 3 seconds. All right.
And we saw that it was offside, so the first goal's important. We got it, and then I think what we did was we kind of controlled the game, so in possession, out of possession. So we wanted to keep the ball a little bit more, and the win is a great.
Better. All right. So there's something, my microphone caused an issue then. All right. So, all right, let's go. So let's just continue with McLaren. All right. So you guys don't want to hear about, you guys don't want to hear from Dwight Yorke. So let's just continue with McLaren. My apologies there, guys. Good teamwork. Pick up yourself in the comments section. We managed to get there. Oh, so you're saying you want me to go back? Okay. All right. Like I said, I'm here to serve you guys. So let me go back to Dwight Yorke. Let's go ahead and listen to Dwight Yorke, the rest of Dwight Yorke's press conference, and then we'll segue back to.
But what we can control is what in front of us. And of course, we play Bermuda next. They're coming off a 2 defeat. So that I will say, looking at it from our point of view, that it's a must-win game to get us back into the thick of things. But it's certainly not over. There's a lot of points to be played. We know how quickly football changes. You've seen it tonight. We felt that we should have gotten something from the game, but we didn't. But we got to keep going with the performance that we put in. Certainly the first 2 games, I think we don't deserve to lose any of those games, but yet we got 1 point, and that's, you can't say much for that. As much as we think we dominate Jamaica, we dominate the game at home, we just haven't converted. In that final third, we seems to be lacking a little bit, and we need to be a little bit more clinical in those areas, especially when we dominate in teams like we have.
Go ahead.
All right, Coach, just looked at the stats and I saw where you were dominant in most of the areas, yet Senior could come out on the losing side. From your perspective as a coach, what are the positives that you take away from tonight's game?
Well, I'm proud of my players. I've always felt that we have, a good intention, and we're showing that. We have certainly, the positive is that, we play well, we dominate Jamaica, we dominate Curacao, and yet we only still got 1 point. I felt that the players, the instruction, we just making these little blunders and letting teams in. So really causing us those little problems. Teams are not really creating chances to beat us. We are actually gifting these teams. And I think it's an area that we just have to be better. We're showing at times that we can really be resilient. But when you give teams the head start like we have given Jamaica tonight, it's a little bit of a blow. But outside of those chances, you look at Jamaica, they haven't really got a chance on goal. We really have given them 2 goals. There's a lot of positive in there for us. There's a lot of encouragement. We just got to keep going. We got to continue to believe. We're showing that we're a good team. We just need to make sure and get those little luck going in our favors when it matters.
Coach, using a boxing terminology, fighting off the ropes. Where you are now, how confident are you, or will you be instilling that? You're on the ropes, but you can fight back. Hopefully, with also coming with a knockout punch.
Yeah, I've been in football long enough, and quickly things have changed. Curacao is to get a point, or even that game, a draw, or Jamaica lose that game. I think as I said, we can't really worry about what's is happening. We know that the next game in front of us against Bermuda is a crucial one, and that's our main aim at the moment. We know, okay, we playing catch up at the moment, but I've been in football long enough to know that it's never over until it's really over. So I've got to make sure that to keep the boys positive, we will reflect back on the two games in terms of how we play. We just need to tidy up a few things, but overall, the performance, I'm sure everyone who's looked at those both games, Trinidad and Tobago should not be in the position that we're in. But we are. It is what it is. We need to dust ourselves down. We need to regroup again and look forward to the Bermuda game away next time.
All right, go ahead.
Coach, commiserations. What are some of the positives? Following from my colleague's question, what are some of the positives that you take from the way that you wanted to set up out of possession today, and how the team executed the certain patterns of play that you practiced?
Well, it's something that we've been working on in terms of the pattern. The guys, I think that they did what we wanted to press Jamaica in their own half, and what we find Jamaica was just going from back to front very quickly. They didn't want to play out. So to not have the courage to play at home and play the way that they did was a little bit disappointing. But we stick to our game plan. I like the attitude. I like the intensity that we played. And as I said, we feel like we got Jamaica where we wanted them. It's just goals change games, right? And in every aspect, you look at the stats, it shows the stats in the database. But the one stats that's gone against us is the goals. And they beat us. They certainly beat us in that department. And at the end of the day, I can sit here and talk about pattern of play and how dominant we are and all that. It's all about results, and Jamaica got the results and we did.
All right, thank you very much, gentlemen. Coach, thank you.
All right.
I have to laugh. Big ups to you guys there in the comment section. Big ups to yourself, Danny Dread. I realized that I always wondered who this particular voice was when they call in over on Elite Sports TV. And of course, last night I was listening and I finally realized that the voice I heard was the voice of Danny Dread. And it's actually a voice that makes me laugh in a good way. You have a vibrant energy about you. And I always wonder, I'm like, who is this person? I didn't know it was you. So yesterday I realized that, oh, it's actually the man himself. So big up yourself. You've got this uplifting voice. You can definitely light up a room for sure. So big ups to you guys there in the comment section, and big up yourself, Danny Dread, David Walker, big up yourself. All right, so let's go back to a few of the things there that Dwight Yorke touched on. I think he's feeling it's to say that he's definitely pissed, and I would as well. Of course, he's not going to want to scapegoat his player. But if there's anyone to be pissed at, rather than talking about Jamaica and us not being the dominant team and so on, really got to blame your player. I think it was Garcia. Again, I was just like in some sense pissed for his nation and his people and his 12th man, because how is it that you've managed to find the back of the net 3 times, and on all 3 occasions you happen to be offside? Like, that is a clearly that is an issue. That's a you problem that you need to work on. You can say that the football gods were working against you. You can say that Jamaica weren't good enough, but at the end of the day, all that matters is the full-time score. I'm not saying that he's blaming anyone or not giving credit where credit's due. I'll leave that for you guys there in the comment section to decide. But he knows himself, like, goals win you matches. The only way you're going to win a match is by scoring goals. Like, that is your only way to win your match, is to put the ball in the back of the net, whether that is during the full 90, added time, extra time, or subsequently penalty shootout, depending on the nature of the game, whether it's a game that must have a decider or must have a winner. The fact of the matter is you have to put the ball in the back of the net. And yes, on Tuesday night's occasions, 5 goals were scored in total. And unfortunately for Dwight Yorke and his team, Trinidad and Tobago, 3 of those goals there were offside goals. Thank God to VAR if you're supporting the boys in black, gold, and green. On a different occasion, if we didn't have VAR, then it would have been a 5-goal thriller with Trinidad and Tobago potentially taking all 3 points, depending on whether or not the Reggae Boyz would have been able to drum up some sort of a reaction. So if he's going to be blaming anyone, I think you need to be sitting down and saying to yourself, how on earth is it you've managed to score 3 goals and 3 of those goals were offside? Did you realize too little too late that, you know what, I need to make a change because this is almost insanity? I can't believe my luck, or I can't believe that the football gods isn't on my side. It was quite remarkable. I don't know if that is some form of history that Trinidad and Tobago created in Tuesday night's match. And I'm not trying to be shady. That's genuinely a question because I've never seen it before. Like, I was so annoyed. I'm like, how have you managed to do this again, and again? So again, you know, if you're going to blame anyone, like, surely you got to take this one on the chin and realize that the reason why you didn't get those all important points, whether it's a point or the maximum points, you got to blame yourself. You've got to blame yourselves. Not going to say you didn't want it enough, but you didn't do what you needed to do. Thankfully, Jamaica's goal stood. Yes, you can say that you gifted the goals to Jamaica, and that if that's the outlook that we're working with, then I think I speak for everyone when I say thank you for the gifts. And I should hope that when we face you in the return fixture, that you give us another gift. If you can give us another gift so close to Christmas, then we will most certainly be thanking you in advance. And I don't think we're going to be giving you a gift in the terms of goals and 3 points, but I personally wouldn't mind putting together some form of gift and sending it to you over there in Trinidad and Tobago. It's the least we can do. If you can give us maximum 3 points, maximum 6 points as a gift, then I will greatly accept. See what you guys are saying there in the comment section. Gary Lynch says Trinidad fell victim to the offside trap. Yeah, they most certainly did. They said Trinidad and Tobago played well, played good. I was not impressed by Jamaica overall team. I am happy for the win, but on a World Cup level, we need a lot of improvements to be done. Let's see what you guys are saying before we segue and listen to it. McLaren during the match, even though some of the details have left me, Trinidad was certainly, to me, the better team. They played well. People will otherwise can understand that, but it's true. Like I said, you know, I can understand his frustration. I can definitely understand his frustration. David Walker is saying Jamaica is still better. Let's see what you guys are saying. I think I've already brought that one up. He said we're afraid to play out. 3 good. It was, yeah, exactly. Three pretty damn good offside goals. And that's like I said, that's the reason why I was sitting there like in complete disbelief. I was just like, how have you managed to do that? It was 3 pretty damn good offside goals. And if that's the case, maybe we have to thank the football gods, because for Trinidad to come into this game, and I think it probably does, you know, credits to them. They came into that game needing to showcase their shooting prowess. They needed to come into that game against Jamaica, their biggest Caribbean rivals, in a game where they most certainly cannot afford to lose. They needed to come into that match with their shooting boots all guns blazing, and unfortunately it quite clearly didn't go according to plan, right? So it is what it is, you know. You snooze, you lose. You can't sit here and talk about what should have happened, what could have happened. Can't sit here and sulk. They just have to make sure that when we go to Trinidad and Tobago, it's not a deja vu scoreline that reflects in Jamaica securing maximum points against them. That's the only thing that they can do, really and truly. But I'm gonna go ahead and stick a pin in it and move on to listening to Steve McLaren before again I share my thoughts. I don't want to ruin Steve McLaren's post-match press conference, if in case you guys haven't listened to it. All right, One Umbrella Sports and Entertainment Jamaica, big up yourself. I hope that you are in good health. Let's go ahead and listen to good old Steve McLaren with his press conference. But before that, let me take this off screen before I segue into something that don't even makes sense. Let's try and find the right press conference for you guys. Good thing I decided to take the off screen, because what I'm doing right now, I actually can't find the press conference there. I'm going to have to go back over and head over to the Jamaica Football Federation and see if we can find the press conference back over in there, because I kind of knew that I wouldn't be able to find it.
What if you could taste the
So we're going for a little bit of a advert, and then I'm gonna go ahead and bring this one up on screen for you guys. All right. Good evening to those of you who have just tuned in. Hope you guys are all in fantastic health. Let's go ahead and listen to the gaffer, Steve McLaren. Let's see. How do I do this? Share screen. Okay, let me go ahead and mute myself so that we don't get a feedback.
I think what we wanted first was to win. I think we started the game so well. The first 20-25 minutes, had opportunities to score. First goal is always important. I would say we got luck with the first goal for Trinidad that was disallowed. You know, VAR, makes the decision, and we saw that it was offside. So the first goal is important. We got it, and then I think what we did was we kind of controlled the game. So in possession, out of possession. So we wanted to keep the ball a little bit more, and you know, the win is a great credit to the players, because it's a young team, it's inexperienced. We've tried to put a squad together. We've had many injuries over the last 2 or 3 weeks leading up to the camp. 8 normal players who would play have been missing, and you know, we have likes of Isaac, King, were the only ones who were there, you know, from previous. So
Maybe I'm jumping the gun a bit, but I don't really like this whole narrative about, you know, reflecting to the players who are missing. I mean, quite obviously, if you're following Jamaica football, we know about the players that are missing. We know about the 18 players who are missing. And I'm pretty sure the journalists in the room are fully aware of that. I'm not really liking because I listened to like I said, the post-match press conference just before I went on air with you guys, and I'm pretty sure he made reference to the A team on a few occasions, and I'm not really liking how it's sounding, because it's almost sounding as if we're going to be reverting back to basic, and that does make me worry. I think if we're going to take it a step back and go back to basic, then unfortunately I feel like we're just going to become basic again. I'm not saying that we've got the X factor now and we are pitch perfect and nothing needs changing, nothing needs amending, but how many times is he going to be shown the right direction or the appropriate formula to work with, to polish and get right? I mean, he saw it in the Unity Cup a couple of months back when we didn't have our 18 players, and subsequently we saw it in this window that just came to an end, where again we didn't have a number of 18 players for no fault of their own, majority of which are on the sideline due to injuries and needing to recover, and hopefully they'll be back in time for the up and coming window in October. That's not to say that I want them to start. Let's not get it twisted. I do not want no player who wasn't available for this particular window to come in and start over the players that secured those maximum points against Bermuda and Trinidad and Tobago. Do let me know what you guys make of Steve McLaren's post-match thoughts as we go along in the press conference. Okay.
To come here with an inexperienced young squad, you know, to get 6 points, which was always the goal. Credit to the players for that, credit to the staff. I think they've done a remarkable job, and we've, you know, along the way we've had difficulties. You know, we lost Warner Brown.
Do you have $100?
Don't think you guys want to be listening to someone talk about losing $100.
You know, we felt that he should have been with us. Got injured playing for Mount Pleasant, so that was disappointing. But we found some what I call nuggets in terms of young players untried. And no one better than Cadamartri when you don't have Warner Brown, who has been the first choice, and you bring in a young player in like Cadamartri and Shamar back, and we had Mikel. He's done a remarkable job, because to win you have to be effective and score goals, and he can do that as well. Apart from his work rate, apart from his running, I think he's been excellent for us in the first 2 games. And considering he wasn't really on our radar the last 3 weeks, but he's pushed himself.
And that's another thing. That's another thing that again makes me question a few of the way in which we operate, or the way in which Steve McLaren and his coaching staff and or his scouting team. Because again, I'm just wondering why wasn't he on the radar? And that's a genuine question. That's not to like drum up any controversy or negativity. It's why wasn't he on the radar? That's the first thought that came to mind. But before I even thought of that, as it relates to Bailey himself, was just clearly he's found himself in a situation where it's one man's loss is another man's gain. And but again, it does make me question the scouting team and the coaching staff. How have you managed to not come across Bailey or get him into the team as soon as possible? Is it a case of you watched him and thought that you didn't need him here and now? If you watched him play at club level and decided that despite his obvious talent and what you can see in terms of how he plays and his attributes, if you could look at all of that he has in his arsenal, how have you decided to yourself that his services wasn't immediately needed? And would we have been capping Bailey in this window if we weren't suffering from a string of injuries? That's something there that really scratched my head when I was listening to the post-match conference earlier on. I don't know what you guys make of what McLaren is saying as it relates to Bailey and his call up. It kind of sounds to me, and maybe I'm misinterpreting it, but it does kind of sound to me that had we not been faced with more than a handful of injuries, we might not be looking at a player like Bailey or having Bailey's service at our disposal, which is a little bit of a concern. But do let me know what you guys make in the comments section. All right, I'm gonna go back and play the rest of that post-match conference there. And if you haven't hit the like button, what are you waiting on? Do go ahead and hit the like button. It does not cost you a penny.
Got his just rewards. So I'm absolutely delighted for the players. They've been a pleasure to work with. The energy and the attitude. Okay, we make mistakes, but that's an experience. We got nervous. That's also an experience. And I would say we're rather fortunate, because obviously with VAR the decisions have got to be right, but on 1 or 2 occasions they were too close for comfort. We keep a clean sheet, which was the main thing over the 2 games. We've created chances. We look like a hard-working team that's hard to beat, with speed, pace, CFAS. Tyrese Campbell has come in as well, a bit of an unknown. We've been the likes of Kahim on. We've got speed, and we've got good defenders, and so we're really pleased with the start. But it's only the beginning, and tougher games ahead.
Katya?
Yeah, Coach. in terms of our midfield, we still seem to be struggling to get organized, especially a lot of times the center circle was very empty tonight. Tactically going forward into the next window, what are the adjustments that you plan to make for that?
I thought we were very organised in terms of that midfield. I wouldn't say we took risks, but we took risks by Casey Palmer, who is a 10, and John Russell, who likes to get in the box. And John Russell scored the goal again. So how many?
5 goals for Jamaica.
5 goals since he came back into the squad. So we've got threats and creativity, and he's kind of the unsung hero, Isaac Hayden. We don't see him much, but he quietly goes about his job, fills in for people, and he's our real rock in there. And it's disappointing he got the second booking because we're missing in the next game.
Did he answer the question? Did he answer the question? I think that was a great question, but I don't know. Didn't it sound to me? It kind of sound to me like McLaren does what McLaren does best, which is to just be around the bush. But to me, unless I am not hearing clearly, maybe you guys can point me in the right direction. But it didn't sound like he actually answered the question. I think that was a great question, but it doesn't sound to me like he answered the question. But I'm gonna go ahead and let this one play before I give my thoughts on the rest of McLaren's post-match conference. All right.
Chef. Okay, Ronaldo. Ronaldo, I don't see them in TV. Coach, the last time we spoke, we lamented the lack of goal scoring from the boys and also the lack of clean sheets. In their previous 2 games, 4-0 against Bermuda, 2-0 against Trinidad and Tobago tonight. Improvements, yes?
Absolutely. You're quite correct in that analysis previous. And, it's what it's about, how do you get these players to score? It's a confidence thing. And that will do Cadamarteri a world of good. That John Russell has come in and delivered from midfield. We need more. We need more goals from Cephas, more goals from Kahim when we play. But as I said, you don't realise how inexperienced this squad is in terms of caps and things, and concerning all the players that were missing, like Latibedian and Pinnock and Bell and Bobby Reed, Leon Bailey, Dimmy, Warner Brown. It's 8 of the team, and Andre Blake. It's 8 of the team who's represented and been the mainstays in the 11. So for me, it's been perfect. We got great messages from all the players as well, which gave them a lot. We had Mikel Antonio here, added his experience. Damien Lowe, who has not.
What's he talking about? Like, I don't know. Is it because it's almost 3 a.m.? It's like my time is saying 2:48 a.m. What's he talking about? Like, again, I kind of feel like just based on the fact that he's making this repeated reference to the starting 11, the regulars, that for me, I think next month when we come back into the international break, I think it's going to go back to just bringing in those bigger name players, which is a little bit of a disappointment because we all know if something isn't broken, why fix it? And this heavy doubling down on the importance of Mikel Antonio, it's like, stop your nonsense. Like, stop your nonsense. Really and truly, it's like, what can Mikel Antonio do in terms of if he's talking about morale building or instilling confidence and belief into the team? Like, I'm sorry, but you're dealing with a string of 23 players who are all professionals. And I'm sorry, but the one player there, if we're talking about this particular window, did you really need to bring in Mikel Antonio? If you're talking about morale boosting, I'll argue and say no, because the one player there that we relied upon in terms of morale boosting and giving the players the air dryer treatment, a bit like your classic Sir Alex Ferguson when we needed it the most back in last summer, was Shamar Nicholson. It was Boza. It was him who literally, while Jaime Halgrimson was our gaffer, went into the dressing room, I believe it was at halftime, and laid into the players and let them know that they need to fix up because we need to get the job done over Canada. So I'm not really sure why he keeps doubling down on we need to have Mikel is this and Mikel. I'm sure Mikel's a lovely bloke. I'm sure he's a wonderful person. If you're going to be bringing him into the next window, not let it not be at the expense of someone who actually is employed by a club. If you want to dip your hand in your pocket and pay for Mikel Antonio's plane ticket for him to be part of your coaching staff, knock yourself out, but at least be fair. Like, be fair and give another player who's deserving of a call up, a player who actually is employed by a club. And it's nothing personal for Mikel Antonio, but if we can overlook the clear unfairness as it relates to whatever meritocratic system you're using. Clearly, you're not using a footballing meritocratic system when you're calling up players. Then I should think that you should do the same for the next player in line, whether it's your favorite or the fans' favorite. So I'm not really buying this whole doubling down on Mikel Antonio, this Mikel Antonio that. Definitely appreciate his services for Jamaica. Appreciate any player that goes out there and represent the black, gold, and green, especially when they are committed. Definitely appreciate them. But I feel like we also need to remind ourselves that the reward is the call up. Your reward is literally a call up. A call up is a privilege. A call up is a reward. So when people are saying that players should be rewarded even if they don't have a club because they are good servicemen to their country, I'm sorry, but they've already been given a reward. The reward is the call up. Stop lowering the standards to suit your favorite.
Played at all, and he just turns up, trains, and he's played 60 minutes and
obviously I've got to stick a pin it right there because he's now talking about our vice captain Damien Lowe, and he's alluding to the couple of things such as on the lines of Damien Lowe didn't play before, came into the camp, played both matches, scored a goal, blah blah blah. Again, stop lowering the standards. Stop lowering the standards. We cannot keep on. Yes, I'm obviously quite happy for Damien Lowe. As I said, he came in despite circumstances and put in a captain's performance in the first game. But let's not lower our standards. Let's not just say because it worked once, then that is the standard that we're going to be working for going ahead in the future, because we cannot be trying to build a serious system, a system that's going to pay dividends, whether it's long-term gratification or short-term gratification by just riding our luck, because sooner or later someone's going to come and clip our wings. Sooner or later our wings going to be clipped. And yes, Damien Lowe almost went from hero to zero over 2 games, from hero to zero. Thankfully, again, that goal there that was scored by again, I think it Garcia again for Trinidad and Tobago was chalked off, but Damien played a role in literally gifting them a goal. And the narrative would have been this, because like I said, football fans can be very fickle and they can be so unappreciative. So whatever excellent things that Damien did in the first game against Bermuda, putting in a captain's performance, people would have forgotten about that. No one would have cared. No one would have said, but why did you bring him in? If you didn't bring him, XYZ wouldn't have happened. So like, stop trying to pretty up your poor standard. Yeah, you're making excuses for players where you should not be making excuses. Let's go and, like, if we want to be taking ourselves as if we want to be seen as a serious footballing nation, let's call up players, first and foremost, let's call up players based off a meritocratic system, because we don't do that. We just keep on moving the goalposts to suit our favorites. And I'm sorry, but that's not something that I agree with, and it's not something that I ever agree with. I don't really care if you're the captain or the vice captain. As I've always said, let's be fair. Let's give every player equal opportunity, equal chance. If you're good enough to play, you should play. First and foremost, are you playing for a club? Okay. Are you accumulating a certain number of minutes? Okay. How is your performance? And let's take it from there. Let's not just call up players for name's sake. Like, let's not do that just because they're your favorites. You're going to be calling them up because one day you're going to run out of luck and another team's going to come along and clip your wing.
And then a full game. And, you know, I said after the game, I think the person who epitomises, you know, what Jamaican football is all about in terms of tenacity, work rate, the way it was. Dexter was... Keisha was, yeah, I thought he was absolutely magnificent up and down that line. Playing against Spicer, who was probably one of their top 3 players, and he kept him quiet so much that he had to go, and he got forward, he got back. You know, he's a bright one for the future.
Coach, in the press conference, the pregame press conference, you mentioned you wanted the fans to come out and be that 12th man for the team. Like, are you pleased with the turnout tonight? Like, did you feel like that helped motivating the team?
I think the team was so focused on doing the job, and we wanted to give a performance and get the win. In spells, we had that performance, and we got the win. So we're possibly delighted that the fans go home happy. It's important. And we'll look towards the next game and try and build this crowd up and the atmosphere up for what is going to be, terrific last 4 games and 2 home games, which are going to be so important.
Yeah. Roger. Coach, you have gotten the results so far at the most crucial time. It might not get easier, it might, as well as it might get easier. Is there a particular way that you're instilling this team, you want them to play, and are you seeing it as yet?
How we want to play?
Yes, because it might not get easier as well as it might get easier as the qualifier squad.
It only gets harder from now on. So Curacao next is going to be very difficult. But we're concentrating on the process on us. We want to be hard to beat, keep clean sheets. And if we can do that, you see we've got good players also to come back in.
He's doing my head in. Like, he's actually doing my head in. He's gonna go back to basic. He's gonna go back to basic and make us basic once again. Literally, like that's where this is heading. Like, again, that was a really good question, but he's shying away from truthfully answering the question. Like, he's not answering the question, because if he does, he's probably going to end up with his foot in his mouth. I'm gonna go back and play the rest of this press conference, but yeah, I'm expecting him to just take us back to basics, bring back something that disrupts something that isn't broken. If you want to remain a team that's hard to beat, don't try to fix what isn't broken. I should think that's just simple understanding. If you want to like build on something that is successful and take us back to the promised land, then you stick with what is working. You don't go back to something that hasn't worked. You don't go back and toy with insanity when insanity almost cost you your job. It's not making sense.
We could score goals. So what I see, I really liked, and especially the first 20 minutes in spells where we really built from the back. But we got nervous towards the end, and maybe a little tired. But we got through grit and determination, and so I can't fault the players at all for whether it was good, bad performance, how we want to play. We got the result, and that's the most important.
Coach, congratulations. I'm not sure if everyone said it yet, but congratulations. Perfect start, clean sheet, 6 points. it's easy to get carried away thinking that you're almost in the world. How does a coaching staff keep the players and everybody level-headed and grounded?
I think we've learned from the last year, and I certainly learned from the last year that there are no easy games in the Caribbean, and I think that was proven against Bermuda. How we went about planning for that game, went about playing that game, and they qualified for a World Cup qualifying group, so they're a good team. Look, I think 3-2 Curacao tonight, and it was 2-2.
It was 2-2 at halftime.
2-2 at halftime. You wouldn't credit that, and yet that just shows what a professional performance that we put in, and also tonight in terms of controlling the game. So yeah, we're progressing well, and at this stage of the season, it's all about results, and God willing, we've got Spiller Look on our side as well, which you need. But as I said, tougher games ahead.
Yes, coach. My question is similar to Mr. Jones here. 6 points, coach. People are coming into the qualifiers about the team. What is the mindset basically now as you close off this window and go into the next window?
I think it's the focus the players must have. We get together again in 3 weeks. We hope some of these players who have been injured, we hope they come back and play games. Want the players who have come on this camp to maintain the form, keep fit, don't get injured, and make sure that we've got a good pool of players to pick from. And as I say, for an inexperienced team, they gave everything to Jamaica, to the supporters, to each other to get this result. And to be positive about going forward after 6 points, a good start to, and not worrying about what's been in the past for the last year. And and what about where have these inexperienced players been? It's where we are now that we've had to cope, and the players who have come.
Look at McLaren trying to cover his own ass. No, we should be talking about where have these inexperienced players been, because these inexperienced players might be the one to save you your bloody job. So stop trying to be a wise ass. Stop trying to cover your own ass. And yes, we will be talking about, again, what's going on with your scouting department, and are you just scouting players for scouting sake? And after you've scouted your players, what do you do with them? Because the players that you are heavily relying on, they've actually been maybe part of the reason why people question your coaching ability, not the inexperienced players. The inexperienced players are going out there and getting the job done at a point where they need to secure those all-important points. So yes, of course, people are going to be talking about the comparisons there between the inexperienced players and the experienced players, because it's quite clear to see who is delivering and who isn't delivering.
They've done a great job the last 10 days. We've been through a lot to get here, a lot to come together, and we've had players drop out even in the last couple of days. We've had to add other players, and we've got the likes of Mason Holgate, who got injured, and lucky that he played tonight. We had to bring Steve. So credit to the players for the camaraderie that they had coming together and what they showed on the field. And what do you want to see? You want to see fight. What we are, the way we play, we don't need possession, but we have such speed, and we have such speed on the wide areas that they're exciting players. Every time CFAS gets it, the crowd get up. Kaheem the same.
Issue, that's probably one of your issue, because he's doing this same thing that dinosaur head coaches do, where you look to a country like Jamaica and all you're thinking of is just speed. Like, all you're thinking of is speed, pace, and power. Like, what about the intelligence? Like, we do have intelligent footballers. Why are you not tapping into the intelligence side of the game? Why are you talking to us about speed? Like, it's just so typical from certain demographics, certain outdated managers, certain outdated head coaches. Again, you see a country like Jamaica, all you're talking about is let's work on speed. Where is the intelligence? Where is the intelligence? Who's gonna be that player there that's the intelligent player? Because they do exist. Like, where are you going to find these? And that's not to say that players that we have aren't intelligent, but clearly you're not looking at them as such, especially where the midfield is concerned. Your intelligence should most certainly come from your midfield. It should most certainly come from your midfielders. And again, that's not to say that we don't have intelligent players, but I don't really think that you're looking at them like intelligent players. You're talking about the typical speed, pace, and power. How many times have we heard that in football when we're listening to certain demographics? Like, get a grip.
We've got Warner Brown, we've got Cadamarteri now. Shamar's come in, and the 2 games that he's come off, he's done really well. So I'm really pleased with the squad that we put together. But I do know that, 2 weeks ago, having 8 injured, we were looking at a difficult 2 games which we've come through.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of his demeanor. I'm more of a fan of Dwight Yorke's demeanor, which I did credit when I listened to him in his pre-match press conference ahead of the Jamaica match. His demeanor is way more convincing and believable. And as I said on my live stream, if I were a player, whose changing room would I rather be in? Dwight Yorke's changing room, not McLaren's. McLaren's just always coming across as just this little simpleton. It's just got life way too easy. Just don't take nothing serious. At this point, Jamaica cannot afford to be juggling with players, injecting players at integral times based on need. Proper team management is required. Yeah, absolutely. Enough of this whole favoritism. Like, if they're not giving you what you desire, and if they're not able to go out there and get the job done, then let's go with the inexperienced players. The inexperienced players are showing that they've got this heart and determination that, I'm sorry, but the experienced players aren't showing it. And that's not to say that they don't have the capabilities and they don't have it in their arsenal to deliver, but they're just not showing us that. But before I speak about those inexperienced players there, I do have to also give McLaren and his coaching staff the credit that they deserve, because at the end of the day, guess what? Football is a results game, and they went out there and they delivered despite the difficult circumstances of, again, missing out on almost a starting 11 of players playing across different areas of the pitch, and irrespective of their previous performances for us as a national team. I think going into this window, there was some, for me, definitely some concerns there, whether or not we'll be able to go out there and secure maximum points. Thankfully we did, which again, credit to McLaren and his coaching staff for managing to get us over the line, and also securing 2 clean sheets as well. I think for me the big fear factor was, are we going to have enough time for these players to gel together, especially the front 3? Because time is of the essence. We're looking at the final round of the qualifying, of wanting to qualify for next summer's FIFA Men's World Cup. So there was a big scare for me there. Like, do we actually have enough time on our hands? Thankfully, we're dealing with professional players, and they were able to go out there and hold themselves accountable. As I said, time is of the essence. They were able to go out there and deliver. So long may it continue. Again, big ups to McLaren and his coaching staff. I'm not sure if Mr. Speed has any influence on that. I'm not sure if being micromanaged by your boss if that is something there that McLaren was up to, if that was something that he was up for. I trust that he probably, well, clearly didn't have much of a choice, but so far it seems like it is working out well for him. Long may it continue, even if we don't agree with the circumstances in which Mr. Speed found himself in a new position with the Reggae Boyz senior men's team. Again, not really sure who to give credit to, so I just spread that credit there across the board. They got it right. They got it right not once but twice. And people can say, oh, it's only this team, it's only that team. Well, news story, you can only play who's in front of you. I mean, did you think they were going to go out there and play against Spain and England? No, of course not. We knew who they were going to be playing against. We knew the manner in which we came into this particular window. We knew that there was potentially going to be some scares there, again, because of the handful of players that were omitted from the team to no fault of their own. That one there down to injuries, but despite of that, they were able to go out there and give us the necessary result. Football is a results game. They went out there, 2 games played, 2 wins in their back pocket. And also 2 all-important clean sheets, and they're also cushioned themselves with a little bit of a goal difference there. So, and again, in terms of giving the coaching staff the credits that they deserve, McLaren and his coaching staff, that is, the substitutions. It's not many times that we sit here and give coaches, especially Jamaica coaches, the credit that they deserve as it relates to making those timely substitutions. Again, this is where I think that potentially, I don't know, I'm not a fly on the wall. I went at the National Stadium. I don't have a clue where Mr. Speed was, but maybe that's the benefits there of having a technical advisor. Maybe, I don't know, if was he part of the team talk in the build up to these all important matches? Did he have any influence there in saying we need to make timely substitutions because we cannot afford to put ourselves on the back foot? I don't know, because I'm not privy to certain types of information, but most certainly the coaching staff, hats off to them for making those timely substitutes. And in terms of the substitutes there, fair play to them. They came on not once but twice in 2 separate games, came on and made a positive impact. So long may it continue. Of course, despite the 2 games there, beating Bermuda 4 goals to the good, and then beating Trinidad and Tobago 2-0. So that's 6 goals scored in 2 matches away from home. The Trinidad and Tobago match there, again, let's just look at the reality. If it wasn't for VAR, we'd probably be sat here feeling incredibly pissed, and probably still pissed until the next window comes on our doorstep. Thankfully, that wasn't the case. But saying that to say clearly, as I said earlier on in the live stream, we're not pitch perfect. There is still some work there to be done, and thank God for VAR. It's not a lot of times that we can thank God for VAR, because when it comes to, we've seen over the years that when it comes to match officiating, that it tends to work against us. Whether you think there's some conspiracy theories there at play, it does at times definitely prove to be working against us. But yeah, definitely pleased with what we saw. Definitely for me anyways. I don't know about you guys, but pleased with what I saw in terms of us going out there and getting the job done. And I don't know how you guys see things in the future there as it relates to who should be awarded the subsequent call-ups, but not just that, but also who should be in your starting 11. I'm going to go ahead and say that I would keep things the same. I wouldn't make any tweaks to my starting 11 again, because I think, as the old saying goes, if it isn't broken, why try to fix it? And right now we're performing well. We're performing good, similar to the performances there that we saw in the Unity Cup. We're going out there and we're getting the job done. And I think if that is the case, we should just go ahead and keep it as it is. You should be able to see some stats on your screen there, taken from the game against Trinidad and Tobago. And the stats there in terms of the highest rated players, obviously it would vary depending on whichever website you guys are looking at. Highest rated player there in terms of the starting 11 is Greg Lee. Greg Lee's got a 8.4 8.4 sorry, 8.1 as his player rating. Bailey, the goal scorer, he has a 7.7. Tyrese Campbell, he's got a 7.0. Ronaldo Cephas, he has a rating of 6.8. Casey Palmer, 6.9. Isaac Hayden, 7.0. John Russell, 7.2. What's going on there? I don't really know why that one refreshed. Dexter Lambakisa, he has a 7.0 rating. King, 7.2. Damian Lowe, 7.7. And Jamali Wade, 7.2. I'm not sure why I randomly just decided to go all over the place with that one. I think it's because I didn't plan on reading out the stats to you guys. And I started and I just like, okay, let's just go ahead and finish that one. And you can go ahead and look at the substitutes that came on. They also had a good player rating. You can see Kaheem Dixon there with a player rating of 7.0. So let's just go back up there and stick a pin in it. And again, be interesting to know what you guys think of what you would do if you were Steve McLaren. Are you going to go ahead and make any subsequent changes there to the starting 11? Me, I'm not doing that, especially when it comes to the attackers. For me, Bailey starts. Don't know if you guys disagree with that. I think he starts. I think he's a starter for me. Dexter again, starter. Tyrese Campbell, starter. And those are the guys there off the top of my head that I can look at and say, you know what, if things continue on said trajectory in terms of the positivity there that we're seeing, I think these guys here are going to be our bricklayers. So, you know, the likes of your Tyrese Campbell, as I already alluded to, your Bailey, your Dexter, and also I know you guys are also eager to see the likes of Brandon Cover back in the team. So these are clear players there that, in my opinion, age in mind, talent in mind as well. You know, young, talented. Of course, they are born in the diaspora, but I think that's what's so significant with how I'm seeing the future panning out. It's not really common to see players who are of similar ilk in terms of quality and age committing to the Reggae Boyz senior men's team. It's not really something that we are used to, but there seems to be currently a turn of the tables, and obviously long may it continue. You know, again, these players there that we're looking at in terms of being the bricklayers for Jamaica, young talented players born in the diaspora, and they're coming to us at a young age. We're talking about players who are just in their early 20s, if that, committing to playing for the black, gold and green. And I think that does carry its weight of significance, because we are so used to players there, those talented players there from the diaspora coming into the national setup when they are at a certain stage of their career, you know, particularly where they're either mid to late 20s or early 30s. So it's refreshing to see young, gifted and talented players like your Campbell, your Bailey, your Dexter, and also looking forward to seeing Brandon Cover back in the team, committing to Jamaica. And what that says to me is that it's a monumental dose of positivity, because it's not very often that I can look and say that we are truly building for the future with this one. Yes, it is a case. It's quite unfortunate that despite of their talent, it's a case of the likes of Campbell and also Bailey, for example, playing in the being in the starting 11 due to injuries. One man's loss being another man's gain. But as I said, you know, in terms of those particular players there, it's not very common where I can say, okay, it looks as if we are building for the future here. It looks as if we're centering ourselves or positioning ourselves towards long-term gratification. I think a couple of those players there that I just named to you guys, they definitely have what it takes to play for Jamaica for the next decade, and I'm hoping and praying that they do play a pivotal role. So far they are playing a crucial role in helping us to qualify for next month's FIFA Men's World Cup. And obviously if they do so and they are not robbed of a place at the FIFA Men's World Cup come next summer, then they obviously put themselves in a shop window there where they can capture the eyes of bigger clubs. There could be bigger clubs out there who are watching or liking what they see from these young and promising talents at our disposal, and might approach their clubs for their signatures. And I think irrespective of whether those big clubs there come knocking at their door, in terms of them being the bricklayers, which I now see them as the bricklayers, and also the guys there that are building our future foundation. The reason why I'm thinking that is it's natural that the likes of your Bailey and your Tyrese Campbell, your Brandon Cover, these players there, their pairs, which I trust and believe that will be equally as talented as them, or close to being talented as them, or maybe even have more talent than them. I think their peers and their age group, if these young lads can help us to qualify for next summer's World Cup, their peers are going to be looking at them and saying, I want a piece of that. So those their age mates there who they probably played with for their country of birth in the youth team, say for England, for example, played with them in the youth team, but they're now kind of at a standstill in their international career because they're no longer getting England call-ups, and it's looking like damn near impossible for them to play for the England men's national team. I should think that if they see a player like your Tyrese Campbell and your Bailey playing for Jamaica at a World Cup, they're going to be looking and admiring and saying that they want a piece of that. They want to come on board and play for Jamaica, which obviously would make the life of the Jamaica Football Federation that tad bit easier. It's much more better when you've got those talented, gifted, committed, hungry, and determined players knocking on your door than the reverse, right? Because there's not really much of a heavy lifting that you need to do, because they're the ones that's coming to you and they're showing that instant, immediate interest. So I think we're in a very good position there as it relates to these players that I think are the future mainstays of the men's senior national team. I think it's quite, we're at a wonderful position where we're seeing young players are taking control of their futures. That's no secret. It's quite evident. Gone are the days where young players would sit around wanting to, let's say, make it with the first team of their clubs, their current clubs, or respective clubs, irrespective of popularity and success. Younger players these days are saying, okay, yes, I might play for a Arsenal or a Chelsea, but that doesn't mean that I have to stick around. If I don't have a foot into the first team, I'm going to be searching for football elsewhere. I think Amari Hutchinson is a perfect example of that. He was at Chelsea, went to Arsenal, went back to Chelsea. I believe he went to Ipswich, and now he's at Nottingham Forest, all for wanting to play regular football. So the same is now being done, in my opinion, when it comes to international football. So we're seeing it at club level, and we're now seeing at international level. And I think Jamaica is part of a fruitful trend, and long may it continue. I think I'm really excited at the prospect of a couple of those players there, again, as it relates to our attackers. Dexter Lambakisa is a player that I haven't touched on, but of course he's part of those bricklayers there. Young players born in the diaspora coming on board at an early stage at their careers. They're not doing what players used to do from way back then and sit around and wait on the likes of England to come knocking on their door and give them their desired call up. And there's nothing wrong with that, because naturally, if you're born in a particular country, the dream is to play for that country. There's nothing wrong with harboring those desires. It's just that how long are you willing to wait around? Like when are you going to just take ownership of your career and accept reality for what it is? And also, do you not want to go where you are wanted as opposed to going where you are tolerated? And I think that's why I am a huge supporter of these young boys that's committed to playing for the black, gold, and green at the early stage of their careers. Long may it continue. Bailey, again, I can't give that young man enough praise. I think he's quite similar to Warner Brown, a breath of fresh air. And these guys are just doing the basics. The likes of your Warner Brown and Bailey, I think the reason why they get so much high praises is because they are doing the very basics. They're putting themselves in goal scoring position, which is what you expect from someone like your forward and your strikers. And Ronaldo Cephas also have his attributes. And know he's a bit like Martinelli, first of the Reggae Boyz fans, and I won't go into that, but he also has his fine attributes. But again, player like Bailey, I think similar to Warner Brown, again, in terms of putting himself in those goal scoring positions. And if you want to score goals, you have to be present. You have to be present. You can't be all the way back there and expecting to put the ball in the back of the net. So not only is he, in terms of those positional awareness, they're reminding me of Warner Brown, but I think he also reminds me of Damari Gray. And in terms of when Damari Gray came into the national team, I think he again, breath of fresh air, fitted in into the team like a missing puzzle, like a glove at a crime scene. It was just pitch perfect, and I'm seeing similarities there with Bailey. Long may it continue, and of course he's getting high praises because he's been compared to the Reggae Boy legend Dion Burton, and I don't think it gets better than that. Every little thing that you can see about Bailey is just positivity of the positivity of the positivity. Long may it continue. And that's the reason why I'm saying that I'm not in favor of dropping these young, inexperienced lads, because they are telling us everything that we need to know. They are telling us that we can go back to the FIFA Men's World Cup for the first time since 1998, almost 3 decades and counting. Now, I actually think I was laughing because I'm looking at this situation that we're in. And I was laughing, and I was thinking to myself, we're actually in such a wonderful position, despite of what could come in terms of whether or not McLaren's going to go back to basics and go ahead and play the original starters over the inexperienced players. I think that that's a massive gamble. I should hope for Jamaica's sake that it does pay dividends, but I think we're in a wonderful position as the 12th man. I think we're in such a delightful position, because in terms of the regular starters there, the experienced players, I'm sure they would have been watching from a distance, or at least I hope that they would have been watching from a distance. And based on the show of performance there from the younger lads, the younger inexperienced lad, make no mistake about it, the pressure is well and truly on. The pressure is well and truly on for them to finally deliver. So if they come back into this team and they are replacing the informed, inexperienced young lads, and they don't deliver, I should think that their days in this national team should be numbered. If they don't come back into this national team and deliver and match what we have seen from those young lads, or surpass what we are seeing, then I should think that their days are numbered. And I'm not talking about double digits. I'm talking about your days in this team is numbered. We're not giving you an abundance of chances to fix things. We've seen enough. You're just not levels. You don't have the heart of a lion to take us to the promised land. That's fine. Thank you. Good luck. All the best of your future endeavors. That's the way that I would look at things, completely cutthroat, because you can't be an experienced player and have inexperience coming into the team and showing you up, because that's pretty much what they've done. They've come in and they've definitely exposed our weaknesses, and a couple of the weak links, unfortunately, is the the experienced players. So again, the pressure is on for these experienced players to deliver, because should you fail to deliver, thus Jamaica resulting in failing to qualify for next summer's World Cup, or potentially going into the intercontinental playoffs, and that is a little bit of a boxing match. I'm sure no one really wants to go there. Then I would say the bulk of the blame will be placed on your doorstep as well as the gaffer's doorstep. So I'm not really sure if they would want that. I don't think they want a nation of people, home and abroad, being pissed at them because they didn't level up, they didn't take us back to the promised land. So I am actually quite excited to see what McLaren does. Whether he starts them or not, the pressure is well and truly on. For me, keep them on the bench, teach them a lesson. You've already done it for Shamar Nicholson. Shamar Nicholson had no favors, and I think Boza is a great example. You see him there when the goals being scored. He's there getting up and celebrating with his teammates despite being sat on the bench. No complaints, no attitude problem, letting his football do the talking. And my God, if he had scored that goal, I think he chested it down and he went for a wonder goal. And it's just unfortunate that I think there was a player that was standing in the way. But if we had a roof if the national stadium had a roof and that roof was closed and that ball hit the back of the net, I'm telling you, the stadium would erupt. That stadium, that roof would fall off, I think, in my opinion. So that would have been a goal there scored by Shamar Nicholson that would have lifted the roof of the national stadium had it found the back of the net. So Shamar Nicholson, perfect example, and you do have to give him some credit as well, because despite the circumstances, I think from an outsider looking on, he seems to have taken that one on the chin, and he is delivering. Let me see what you guys are saying there in the comment section. I'm getting a warning that my Mac's going to die soon. See what you guys are saying there in the comment section. I'm sorry, I wasn't ignoring you guys, but so you're saying that Bailey must start. He's a permanent fixture. Pair him with a striker that can score. Who is your striker? Who do you think that should be? Favorite thing not going to work in this setup? You are not performing, then take a rest. Absolutely, I definitely agree with you on that point. Okay, I think we've gone through a few of these already, Gary. Let me go ahead and look at don't know if Whisper is available, but if he is, I would draw. And that's another thing with Dujon Whispers as well. It's like, I'm sorry, but if you can call up an unemployed, this is why I'm saying you got to be careful with your standard, because if you set it too low, then you put yourself at you give yourself a dangerous precedent, because at least we can say that Dujon has a team. Yes, he's playing youth team football, but at least he's employed. He's playing football. He's performing. He's finding the back of the net. So again, there's going to be an argument there to say that why not bring Whisper back into the team as well? What's the excuse if you don't bring him back? Because you can't call up an unemployed player and then not call up a player because he's playing youth team football. It's not the first time that we would have called up a player that's playing youth team football. So you can't be moving the goalpost in that regard. Just keep that 11 for the remainder of the qualifiers. Jamaica look for tweakers of the qualifications. Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree. But then again, it's like, who do you take out? Because this is every player's dream. Every player's dream is to play in certain competitions, Champions League being one of them, the World Cup being the other. And I think I wouldn't want that to happen to me. I wouldn't want that to happen to my loved one. Football is they're human beings at the end of the day. And I really wouldn't want to do that to someone. I know we want to go back to the World Cup. I know you want to get out of the groups. I know we want to go to a round of 16, but we're dealing with human beings here as well. So I know football can be cutthroat, which is why players have to put themselves first and choose them, because clubs aren't going to always choose you. As soon as the new shiny toy comes along, they're gonna dash you back in the box. If that, they just throw you to the wayside. They're not really concerned about you. They're going for the next best thing. If it was a competitive qualifier, World Cup nations, he is not permanently. Oh, okay, you're talking about something. Okay, you're talking about something. I think you're talking about Bailey in England, right? Okay. When you get a chance for another show, can you do a show talking about Curacao team and how Jamaica would match up? I can definitely pencil that one in for you. Big up yourself. I hope you're in good health. Can definitely pencil that one in for you and give it to you at an appropriate time. What I've noticed with the management of the team is that we don't continue to fill in the gaps when gaps happen. We should look at the best 11, 15 players from this window and just slot on the more experienced players. Yeah, but as I said, I think we're in a wonderful position. We are, if those experienced players want to show up and give us sloppy performances and subsequently be one of the main reasons why we do not qualify for the World Cup and have their nations put their heads on a chopping board, then fair play to them. Let it all work out. Over to them, you know. So I'm not really worried. The bricklayers are here and hopefully they're here to stay. And I think that this is going to be the start of something wonderful to come in terms of us now finally being able to lure talented players from the diaspora to come and commit to Jamaica at early doors. If we can go ahead and do the unthinkable with these young, inexperienced players, trust and believe that other players there that's playing for England, other young, gifted players there that's playing for England are going to be looking and saying, okay, I want some of that. I'm going to be committing to Jamaica. This is long. I'm not going to be tying down my support for England or any other nation there across the diaspora where our players are eligible to represent. And speaking of Bailey, he also has his I think it's his younger brother that plays for the Manchester City U18. So maybe we can bring him on board as well. I think the young lad's like 15 years old. Maybe we can bring him on board as well. Okay. Yeah, I figured. I was taking a glance at your question, your comments there, and I figured that that's what you was who you was referring to. Don't forget, quota system is in. Do we have a quota system? Do we have one, or is that just that's a genuine question? Because sometimes I try to stay away from the politics. Sometimes I don't watch YouTube when it gets like too toxic. I'm just like, yeah, I'm out. So I miss out on quite a lot of conversations just because I can't deal with the negativity. So do we have a quota system? With two of our midfield being out for the first game in the next window, who do you think will fill those spot? I think that's an excellent question. I think that's something I'm going to have to sit down and ponder over. I haven't really given that any thought, and I don't really want to give you a rushed answer just for the sake of answering your question. I think that's something I'm going to think about because the midfield does need addressing. And I'm wondering as well, while you're at that, that's an excellent question. I'm wondering what's going on with Daniel Johnson. Like, why isn't Daniel Johnson being recalled? And last time I checked, he's playing football, so he's employed. We have a midfield issue. Why is he not being recalled? Like, what have I missed? What have I missed with Daniel Johnson? Is there something there that I'm not aware of? I think you guys need to bring me up to speed. So yeah, I would love to know why Daniel Johnson isn't being called to the national team. Obviously, we have summarized the situation there. We've drawn a conclusion to what's going on with Ravel Morrison, isn't it? So yeah, the next question for me is what's going on with Daniel Johnson? What is going on with Daniel Johnson? I'm not really sure what's going on with Mr. Johnson, but yeah, that's probably another player there that is worth considering for midfield for next window. But it's looking a bit bleak. It's looking like it's not going to happen, isn't it? Because I don't really understand the politics. Like I said, I try to stay away from certain politics because it just does my head in, and I'm not really interested unless it's a case where okay, yeah, this must be looked at. So you can see how this one is looking. You can see how this one is looking. See how this one here is looking, is shaping up. It's shaping up. If you stop the clock, we'll be going through to the next we'll be going through to the World Cup if we stop the clock right now, but we can't. We still have some more games to go. Curacao, they're in the second place, so they'll be looking at intercontinental playoffs if we were to stop the clock, but we're not doing that just yet until the fat lady sings. So Group A, this is the final round. This is the current standing for the final round of the CONCACAF FIFA Men's World Cup qualifiers. Suriname Group A, they're leading the charge out in Group A. 4 points in their back pockets. They have a goal difference of 1, closely followed by El Salvador on 3 points. They have a goal difference of 0. Panama, they're with 2 points in their back pocket. They also have a goal difference of 0. Guatemala sits rock bottom of Group A. They have 1 point in their back pocket with a -1 goal difference. I actually had Panama winning the groups. Who do you guys have winning the group in Group A? Do let me know. Moving on to Group B, I'm hoping you guys can see what's on the screen in front of you. So in Group B, out in front on maximum points is Jamaica. Stick a pin in it. Who would have thought that out of the 3 groups there, Group A and Group B, Jamaica actually won some who have secured maximum points. As you can see there, the other 2 groups there, they failed to secure maximum points. So going back to Jamaica in Group B, maximum points after 2 games, they have a goal difference of 6, followed by Curacao on 4 points, goal difference of 1. Trinidad and Tobago have a 1 point in their back pocket with a goal difference of -2. And Bermuda sitting rock bottom of the table. They have 0 points in their back pockets with a goal difference of -5. In Group C, we have Honduras out in front leading the pack. They have 4 points. They have a goal difference of 2, followed by Costa Rica. They have 2 points with a goal difference of 0. Haiti also have 2 points with a goal difference of 0. And Nicaragua sits rock bottom of the table, 1 point with a goal difference of -2. So, Group C, I would like for it to be either Haiti or Costa Rica to win this one. I mean, we have to back our own, right? We have to back our Caribbean brothers, Haiti. And we already know that we do have a large diaspora community of Jamaicans in Costa Rica, hence also backing them as well. All right. So that is how we are looking. I think I've managed to cover everything that I wanted to touch on. See what you guys are saying there in the comment section. I think Daniel Johnson had stated he retired from. Oh, really? I didn't catch that one. I might have to look at that. I've not seen that. I've not seen him say that he has retired from international football. I wonder why. That's a news story to me. I hope not, but I wonder what could be the reason for that. Daniel Walker said we need to win at least 3 more matches. I want them to listen. We need to just go out there and win them all. I want it to be a case of by the time we get to the final game on home soil, I want it to be a case of we are looking at celebrations. We are just in a celebratory mood, knowing that it's done and dusted. That's what I would want. Just want us to go out there and just get the job done. And just it would be amazing. You know, I've not seen it happen. Thank God to the Reggae girls, but we've not seen it happen. Guys, I'm gonna have to love you and leave you. My Mac's about to die. I'm on 1%, so I'm gonna have to love you and leave you. Thank you so much for supporting me, and you know how it goes. Until next time, take care.
I'm John Barnes, and you're watching Talawa TV with Crystal Davis.
You guys are still here? All right, so I managed to turn my Mac back on, but that's it, guys. I'm gonna love you and leave you, all right?